I'm Huon Hooke, and this is The Real Review. The wine we're tasting today is Domaine Naturaliste Le Naturaliste Cabernet Franc 2018 from the Margaret River region of Western Australia. So the backstory, I guess I should start with the name Domaine Naturaliste Le Naturaliste, very French. And of course, this wine producer is named after the cape at the top end of the Margaret River promontory. It's a bit of land that sticks out into the Indian Ocean. Cape Leeuwin at the bottom, Cape Naturaliste at the top. And above Cape Naturaliste, you have Geographe Bay. So it's very much a promontory that sticks out from the southwest of Western Australia. Why is it named Le Naturaliste? It's because of the French expedition led by Nicolas Baudin, which came around there in a long time ago and named those features of the coastline. They mapped the coastline and they named the features of it after various French things, including the ships they sailed on. So Le Naturaliste was one of the ships, and Baudin was there as Geographe, of course, is the name of one of the other ships that were in the expedition. This was in 1801, so a long time ago, and it was before the colony was established in Perth, of course, which was a few years later, 25 years later, roughly. So Baudin's own ship was named the Geographe, but the other ship was named Le Naturaliste. Now, Domaine Naturaliste is the brand of a guy called Bruce Jukes, who is one of the most significant contract winemakers in Western Australia. For 30 years he's been making wine for lots of vineyards, especially in Margaret River, but in other parts of WA as well, and established a really outstanding reputation as a winemaker. But it wasn't until nearly 30 years down the track that he decided that he would produce some wine under his own label, and that's when Domaine Naturaliste began. Because he doesn't own vineyards, he's a bit shy about telling us where the grapes for this wine come from, this Cabernet Franc, but I know they come from a vineyard in Williabrup, which is, of course, the most famous terroir in Margaret River for red wine especially. It's in the northern sector of the Margaret River region. And Cabernet Franc. Cabernet Franc is a variety that is not often seen in Australia as a standalone grape variety. It is lighter, generally lighter structured, less tannic and more aromatic more fragrant than Cabernet Sauvignon as a generalisation. Very, very interesting variety, and not many standalone wines, but this one is a very, very good example. So how does this wine taste, this Domaine Naturaliste Cabernet Franc? There's nothing light about the colour. The colour is very, very deep and beautifully purple crimson, youthful looking colour, very bright. Let's have a sniff. And the reputation for Cabernet Franc for being a very fragrant variety is certainly borne out by this wine. It's beautiful on the nose. It's got a stunning aroma. There's raspberries, there's all sorts of red fruits there. There's a little bit of leafiness, but it's not green leafiness. It's just that classic Cabernet leafiness that you do get. Even in good, nice ripe Cabernet, it always has a bit of that character. And there's a cedary kind of overtone there, really nice. That's also a Cabernet thing, but I think it's a synergy. When you put Cabernet in good quality oak barrels, it results in this cedary character. There's a touch of autumn leaves, a touch of forest flor perhaps, which is more of a dried herb, a dried leaf character, and black fruits as well as red. But let's have a taste. Gosh. Any thought that Cabernet Franc is a light-bodied wine this is not light-bodied. This is a powerful, intense, full-bodied wine with great attack, great penetration, great length, wonderful stuff. And the flavours are just gorgeous. There's an array of flavours there, all sorts of berry fruits. Again, all of those herb things as well. More dried herbs than green herbs. Really, really attractive wine. Long palate. The tannins are very fine and subtle, and often when you think Cabernet, you think strong tannins. But Cabernet Franc, the tannins are much lighter, but it doesn't lack tannin either. It's got good tannin, just enough to give it the backbone, a structure, to carry through the length of the palate. Clean finish, makes you want another sip. That's terrific. So how do we rate this Domaine Naturaliste Cabernet Franc? We scored it 95 out of 100, so good gold ribbon score. It's a top ranked wine because it rated number 1 out of 27 Cabernet Francs from across Australia in 2018 vintage. So because there's so few Cabernet Francs produced in West Australia or any particular region, we've compared it to all of Cabernet Francs from all around Australia, of which there are only 27 we tasted, and it came number 1. So you can't do better than that. We've said drink it from now until 2032, so another 11, 12 years. I think it's drinking beautifully now. But if you like wine with a bit more age character to it, keep it for a little while, but there's no hurry to drink that. A food match. Bruce Dukes, the winemaker, he recommends lean red meat. In other words, not fatty red meat. I'm not sure why it has to be lean, but a bit of fat's okay, I would have thought, especially on your steak. Gamey poultry. Yep, that sounds good too. So guinea fowl, duck, turkey, pheasant if you've got one to hand, no problem, that would go beautifully. He's also suggested hard cheeses, and I think that's an excellent idea as well. So all of those things get my approval. Thank you, Bruce. Good health.